Hello, everyone, and good evening to you. I'm Taylor Eaton, joining you from WSAZ Plus. It is just after 9 o'clock, so it is time to get caught up on our headlines of the day, and there's a lot to fill you in on. So with that, we will get right to it. Our first two stories tonight keeping us at the West Virginia State Capitol as we go over some proposed legislation. On these first two, parents are definitely some stories that you'll want to listen to. Our first one is dealing with a family's heartbreaking loss, now inspiring legislation that looks to create tougher laws dealing with sextortion. That term you might have a lot of questions about. You may not even know what it is. So we're going to go over that. But first, we're going to talk a little bit about this young man, and we have reported on him several times. This is his family, and his parents have been very outspoken about this since his passing. This is 15-year-old Bryce Tate. He was a sophomore at Nitro High School and caught in a trap known as sextortion. That is when the extortionist uses private messages to create a false identity, then puts on some sort of a romantic or a sexual interest, often acquiring compromising pictures and videos before then turning the tables and threatening to publicly expose the images unless that person pays up. So now, in the days after, the weeks after, the months after, his parents became very passionate about sharing his story, sharing their son's story, and in turn hoping to help others and to keep them from going through this same tragedy. My co-anchor Tim Muir, he has spoken with the Tate family several times, and that has always been the goal, they have said, is to just make sure that other families don't have to deal with this same heartbreak, and that they know what sextortion is, and to make sure that they are having open conversations with their children. Today, we spoke with West Virginia State Senator Mike Woelfel. He has pushed legislation on sextortion for several years now, and he did get a bill passed last year. But a story like this has hit home for so many people, including Delegate Andy Shamblin, as Tim learned from Kanawha County. Delegate Shamblin, he says, knows the Tate family personally, and he has sponsored another bill that would create even tougher laws, helping police and prosecutors to go after those who prey upon unsuspecting people. That bill unanimously passing through the West Virginia House of Delegates, and Senator Mike Woelfel says he fully expects the Senate to move it forward, eventually getting it to the governor's desk for signature to become law. And he says that kids like Bryce are often the victims, but he just wants them to know they are not alone and to let their families know they are not alone. So this one is still making its way through the legislature. We'll be following it throughout the rest of the session. Next tonight, the next bill that we are going to talk about, another one very important for families and parents to listen up to, is called the Vape Safety Act. The West Virginia House Health and Human Resources Committee discussing legislation today. They say will keep vaping devices out of the hands of children. It is called the Vape Safety Act, or House Bill 5437. We talked with the sponsor of this bill. Our reporter Luke Hamilton was at the Capitol today, and he personally spoke with the sponsor of this bill. You will hear from them tonight at 10 and 11, but in case you can't tune in with us, I reached out to Luke, and he said that the sponsor of this bill wanted everyone to know there are basically three main points to it. Dealing with vaping and hopefully keeping those devices out of the hands of young children. Number one in this proposed legislation is having a vape product registry requiring all products be approved or pending approval from the FDA. Number two, coming up with licensing requirements for vape shops, including things like background checks and fingerprinting. And number three, a licensing fee that would be split between the state's agriculture department and the Alcohol Beverage Control, or the ABC, to enforce, police, and test those products. Now, Luke also told me that the sponsor of this bill said right now this is going through the markup phase of this, so they're kind of looking at it, making some amendments to it. So it's still in that phase, still a ways away from becoming law. But another thing the sponsor of this bill said they wanted to look at is possibly making some amendments that would deal with the marketing of these products when it comes to children. So those are kind of the tiers of the things that would be included under the umbrella of the Vape Safety Act. Full story coming up for you tonight at 10 and 11 from our reporter Luke Hamilton. If you miss it, we'll be posting that full thing on WSAZ.com, so that way you can watch on your own time and get caught up with his story and what they are doing to try to protect children in West Virginia. But this one's still a ways away from becoming law. It is right now in the committee phase, being marked up and amended before it then would head to the House and the Senate and ultimately to the governor's desk if it makes it that far. So we'll be following this one too in the session ahead. All right, next tonight, news of an arrest, and this one just coming into us. And these are the pictures of the two people that have been arrested. Let me share with you the details that we have learned of this from the Meigs County Sheriff's Office. They're telling us these two have been arrested. Deputies saying they found drugs, guns, and child pornography in a search of their home. The Meigs County Sheriff's Office releasing all of this information tonight, saying they searched a home in Racine, Ohio, belonging to these two, Woodrow Richards and Margaret Hall. Inside the home, deputies say they ended up finding a large amount of meth and fentanyl after getting a warrant and being able to go into that home. Deputies say they also found child pornography on electronic devices that were taken from the home. And deputies say 3 children were inside when they got there, so they contacted Child Protective Services to get those children to safety. So news of this arrest just coming into us within the last few hours. We'll have that story for you tonight at 10 and 11 as well. News today about athletic program cuts at Marshall University. Marshall University announcing it is saying goodbye to its swimming and its diving team at the end of this season. Announcing that and making it official today during the Board of Governors meeting in which it was approved. The board also voting to, in addition to cutting the swimming and the diving program, voting to create a new program. It is going to be a stunt program. Marshall University President Brad Smith says that there were 3 main reasons for the cut: financial, infrastructure, Title IX alignment. Now, officials say the swim and the dive team costs more than $800,000 a year, while officials say a fully developed stunt program costs about $330,000 a year. They also said that the facilities need upgrades, and the university says that at this time they just can't responsibly commit to doing those upgrades. Officials saying the swim and the dive team carries a roster of about 30 student athletes, while they say a stunt program can support up to 65. Significantly, they said, expanding women's participation opportunities in athletics on campus. Athletic Director Gerald Harrison saying that it was a really tough decision, but it was a decision rooted, he says, in responsibility, and says it has nothing at all to do with the team's performance nor its character. Now, 17 of the 28 members of the dive and the swim team have already entered the transfer portal. The athletic director saying the athletes that choose to stay, though, will still receive the level of aid they're currently getting and were promised during the recruitment process. President Brad Smith saying the pool will still continue to serve academic programs, recreation, and community needs. All right, next tonight, we are going to talk about school and all of those missed days because of the wintry weather that we experienced when we were just locked in snow and ice what seemed for weeks and weeks on end, and schools were out of session for quite a bit of time. We're hearing of several districts that are deciding to do this. We've talked a lot about those non-traditional instruction days, NTI days that are built in that schools can use if they're out of school for an extended period of time. But a lot of those districts have already burned through those and are looking at some other options to try to make sure that the kids aren't having to stay later on at the end of the school year. So they've already got that date on the calendar that the students are supposed to get out of school. They still want that to remain. So one district in particular here that has decided to now just tack on some extra minutes to the school day to try to make up for all of that lost time and make sure that the students can still get out of school when they were expected to. Carter County, Kentucky. The students are going to find themselves in class for a little bit longer each day. We're talking 20 minutes longer to be exact. And that's to make up for, yes, those prolonged icy conditions that we all experienced, keeping students home for several weeks. And we really saw this in a lot of our counties that have a lot of rural areas and streets that maybe the students live on or roads that the students live on that didn't necessarily see a lot of sun for weeks on end. And a lot of those districts made the decision to just call off. A lot of the superintendents and some of the transportation officials will go out and make those determinations. And that was the case for a lot of districts. The superintendent, Jennifer Fraley, says the district has missed 23 days, almost a full month, because of weather conditions. And that exceeds the state's maximum of 10 NTI days, leaving students 13 days behind. So the superintendent says the extra 20 minutes will be tacked on to the end of the school day, and that starts on Monday for students. The district will now also be in session on the first 2 days of their planned spring break. So 2 of those days of spring break going away. There is some good news, though. The superintendent says these changes will allow them to release on May 29th, weather permitting, and that is the goal, is to make sure that those students can still get out on time, understanding that a lot of families have already planned for vacations and other things once the students get out of school. So they try not to mess with that end day at all. And that's why they're doing this, tacking on those extra minutes to the school day and unfortunately having to take away 2 days of spring break. Students will get part of that spring break. It's just 2 of them are going away and they'll be in class for 20 minutes longer for the school day. That starts on Monday. So there you go, parents. That way you know there's going to be a little adjustment to the school schedule for your students come Monday. All right, next tonight, this one is just a really odd and interesting story and some things that you need to do in order to properly help the West Virginia Department of Agriculture in this case. They said there's a scheme that's going around, and this one's real interesting. It's targeting the environment. So let's go ahead and we'll go over the details of this one and help you so that way if these things show up to your doorstep, you know exactly what to do to properly dispose of the items that we're talking about. So this is a safety alert. Heads up, everyone. You need to stay alert. Mysterious seeds have started being delivered to homes in West Virginia. The Department of Agriculture saying these have been under testing for months, but they're still working to learn exactly what these seeds are and what in turn would grow if you were to plant them. But they don't want you to do that. If you get them, don't open them, don't start planting them. We're going to talk to you about what you need to do. The state's agriculture commissioner, Kent Leonhardt, says the seeds are being traced back from their findings to China. And he says if planted, they could be a biohazard to the environment and to animals. So if you receive these seeds, you should not plant them, don't ingest them, and don't throw them away. He says instead get in touch with the West Virginia Department of Agriculture and they will arrange a pickup. So don't just toss those things in the trash because they may end up somewhere else and still get into the environment. They just want you to go ahead, keep those seeds in the packaging. If you get one of these delivered to your doorstep, keep them in the packaging. Call the West Virginia Department of Agriculture. We'll have their number posted on WSAZ.com. They will arrange a pickup to come and take care of those. So that's what you need to do if those start showing up to your doorstep. And next tonight, a ribbon cutting for a new facility in Ashland, Kentucky. Oh, hold on one second. I apologize. For some reason, my video pulled up for that last story. So let me get the right video here for you. There we go. That was the video I was looking for. All right, so from conception to production on this one, ExxonMobil and ACP Technology cutting the ribbon today at their new facility in Ashland. The facility is going to be producing a new carbon-based material used in lithium-ion batteries and used in everything in our day-to-day lives. We're talking things like electric cars, data centers, aerospace equipment. That material was invented, listen to this, just down the road a few decades ago by a man named Donald Malone. He was from Grayson, Kentucky. He passed away in 2019, but his family was on hand to celebrate the occasion today. And Congressman Hal Rogers was also there, says that he's very proud to see innovation from the region making an impact nationwide. So the ribbon cutting for that new facility today, bringing with it jobs and new economic opportunity for the area. So with that, that's a look at our big headlines coming up for you tonight on WSAZ, brought to you here on WSAZ Plus. As always, remember at about 9 o'clock each evening, we will bring those to you right here. So that way, if you can't make the 10 and the 11 o'clock news, you can still get caught up on all of the happenings of the day. Appreciate you being here, everyone. For now, I'm Taylor Eaton, signing off WSAZ Plus. Hopefully, I'll see you at 10 and 11. If not, I'll see you back here tomorrow, same time, same place for the headlines. And I hope all of you have a wonderful day ahead.